Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Operation Freedom Briefings. The goal of these briefings and my weekly radio show, Operation Freedom, is to provide you information the bought-off, lamestream, fake media will never provide. Now, you can stream my Sunday live radio show, Operation Freedom, which airs out of the People's Republic of Ann Arbor through Wham Talk 1600's Freedom Bunker at davejanda.com. davejanda.com has been upgraded. It is faster, it's easier to download. You can stream the show live every Sunday from 2 to 5 Eastern, but the podcasts are always available for you 24/7, starting at 9 p.m. Sunday evening. We also have these YouTubes present on that channel. We have a blog site. So please join me at davejanda.com. We have information that truly I believe will help you beat the globalists at their own game. Look, folks, I believe we're at a situation in our country right now where a financial hurricane is about to hit. We just saw the devastating effects of Harvey and Irma, but the bottom line is there's an even larger financial hurricane that's going to affect every American, which I believe is very close to impacting our shores. Now, how do I know that? Because the globalists always love to give us a little bit of an indication that something is around the corner. You see, folks, starting back in 1913, when we lost control of our money supply, when it was handed over to an independent group of bankers that only have their interests and not our country's interests at heart, that being the Federal Reserve, we lost control of the country because we lost control of our money supply. And ever since then, they've run the show. Well, the reserve currency of the dollar that they created is coming to an end. We know that because we see countries around the world leaving the dollar in terms of how they do their trading, whether it's oil or whatever natural resource that they're selling or buying. And in fact, the globalists are giving a hint that the days of the king dollar, strong dollar, or reserve currency dollar are coming to an end. And how do we know that? Look, one of the ways they've propped up the dollar is by suppressing the price of real money, suppressing the price of precious metals, in particular gold and silver, that has been real money for over 5,000 years. Well, there have been some globalists that have been out there of recent late, that have been indicating that look out, something big and bad's happening, and the role of real money, gold and silver, is going to be coming back. And the strength of the dollar is going to be further depreciating, which will impact you and your financial and your economic freedom significantly. How do we know this? Look, about a month and a half ago, Terry Duffy, who's the CEO of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, where supposedly commodities are traded freely and fairly, not so much. There's been a blatant manipulation occurring by the globalists, by the criminal banking syndicate on those exchanges, in particular with gold and silver. We've outlined this significantly on our Operation Freedom show. Terry Duffy recently was on Fox Business News with Neil Cavuto, and Cavuto said, and remember, I've done a tremendous amount of national media. Everything is scripted. The questions ahead of time, your answers, and the like. Cavuto looks at Duffy, the CEO of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and says, hey, look, all these bad things are happening in the world. North Korea, the Ukraine, China, Iran, Syria. Why isn't gold and precious metals, why aren't they responding? And Duffy's response is, well, you know what, you're right. And someday people are going to wake up and gold is going to be $3,000 an ounce, $5,000 an ounce, $6,000 an ounce. Number one, heads up. Number two, heads up. A week after that, front page of the Wall Street Journal questioning whether the United States gold is still being held intact in our Federal Reserve System, in the U.S. Treasury. Front page article. Question, is our 6,200 tons of gold still in the vaults of the New York Fed? Question mark. Second heads up. Third heads up. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, an alumnus of that globalist organization Goldman Sachs, also known as the great vampire squid that sucks the blood and money out of anything and everything that exists in the world, all of a sudden Steve Mnuchin, along with Mitch McConnell, show up at Fort Knox. And before Mnuchin goes in, he says, wow, wouldn't this be an interesting movie if we got in there and there was no gold? Interesting? Not so much interesting, but probably pretty honest. He goes into the vault. Now, reportedly, there are 13 vaults filled with gold at Fort Knox. He supposedly only looked at one of them. He comes out and what does he say? Quote, gold is safe, end quote. Not, hey, we looked at all the bars, we checked it, we had a reference of the bar numbers, they all checked out, they're not owned by any other organization, any other country. We assayed the bars, none of that. Quote, gold is safe. Duh. Yeah, and so is silver. Look, that's a huge warning. You know, by the way, do you know the gold supply in Fort Knox has not been audited since the 1950s? Yeah, there's a reason for that. Yeah, because take a guess. If it was there, this government would be auditing it every year. Fourth, Goldman Sachs, again, gave a huge heads up to its clients. Let me read it to you because it's important that you hear the words directly from the squid's mouth. We find that gold can effectively hedge against geopolitical risk if the geopolitical event is extreme enough that it leads to some sort of currency debasement. Bing, 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 dollar depreciating further. And when that happens, I know your 401k statement is great, not so much longer. They go on, quote, gold can therefore be thought of as a geopolitical hedge of last resort. They conclude, if buying gold, don't buy futures or ETFs. In other words, paper gold that's sold on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Remember Duffy, first guy I talked about? No, they say buy the real thing. And they state, buy the real thing. Direct quote. The lesson learned that it was that if gold liquidity dries up along with the broader market, so does your hedge, unless it is physical gold in a vault. The true hedge of last resort, end quote. Look, that's as big a head up as you're going to get, folks. Protect yourself. At a minimum, precious metals are a great insurance policy. But at a maximum, they will return, as they always have been for 5,000 years, as the real currency, the real store of value. Protect yourself. The globalists have given you four huge hints that a financial hurricane is about to attack our shores. Folks, you can get more information of this nature. Tune in. Operation Freedom every Sunday, 2 to 5 Eastern. You can stream the show at davejanda.com. And again, the podcasts are available at davejanda.com 24/7. Until next time, this is Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail.